Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Before we start our session, we would have a recitation of some Quranic verses and also a Christian prayer. So I would like to ask Mr. Hashemi to recite some verses of the Quran, and then Mr. Farajan will read the translation.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله عما يشركون.
In the name of God, the all-compassionate, the most merciful. He is God. There is no God except Him, knower of the sensible and the unseen. He is the all-beneficent, the all-merciful. He is God. There is no God except Him, the sovereign, the all-holy, the all-benign, the securer, the all-conserver, the almighty, the all-compeller, the all-magnanimous. Clear is God of any partners that they may ascribe to Him.
I suggested that as our prayer we might sing a hymn in honor of Mary. For Christians, the celebration of Easter is 50 days. And so we have one more week of Easter. Easter concludes for us with the Feast of Pentecost, 50 days. After the celebration of Christ's resurrection, we celebrate the coming down of God's Spirit into the hearts of all believers. And in the monastic tradition, every day at the end of our prayers in the evening, we end with a hymn to Mary. And there is a special hymn for this season of Easter called Regina Caeli Laetare, Queen of Heaven Rejoice, quia quem meruisti portare, because the one you were worthy to bear resurrexit sicut dixit, He has risen as he foretold. Ora pro nobis Deo. Therefore, pray to God for us. And interspersed with this hymn is the word that is perhaps most closely related to Easter, Alleluia, praise God. Alleluia, praise God. So it's a short hymn, and we will sing that as our opening prayer. So everyone together. Regina Celi letare, Alleluia. Viaque meruisti portare, Alleluia. Resurrexit sicut vincit, Alleluia. Ora pro nobis Deum, Alleluia.
Thank you very much. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah al-ali al-azim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina Abil Qasim al-Mustafa Muhammad. Wa ala alihi al-tayyibin al-tahirin. La siyama baqiyatillah fil aradin. Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu al-sharif. I humbly thank God Almighty for giving us this opportunity to meet once again here in Qom and to have our 7th round of Catholic Shia dialogue. Over years, we have been able to keep this dialogue going on, and as I said last night in the welcoming session, these 7 rounds of dialogue are just the main framework for our discussions and meetings. Otherwise, there have been tens of different meetings that have been taking place between us and our Catholic friends. And I mentioned last night that just last week we had very good time in St. Ottilian with our Benedictine brothers, where Abbot Primate Notker Wolf was abbot also there, and he's from that community and congregation, and I think Maximilian is also from the same congregation of St. Ottilian. So we had very good time there, and there were 7 of us from UK and from Iran and Argentina. We discussed about ecology and about social justice, as well as prayer. And before that, Brother Joseph and one of the Benedictines visited us. Before that, 2 of our brothers stayed there for 6 weeks to improve the German and to know more about the spirituality of the Saint Benedict. And also I had a day visit to plan. So just with the St. Ottilian community, we had few meetings and exchange. And I can say now, with our Catholic friends in UK, in Italy, in many different countries, we have lots of opportunities to meet. But these rounds of dialogue that every year and sometimes every other year have taken place, starting from 2003, have been giving us a framework to share with people who are interested in this type of relations. And thanks to God, out of it, lots of other good things have come out. Our session today would be starting with an introduction of all the presenters and participants in the dialogue. And then we would have a short clip that our friends in the Institute have produced about our previous dialogue in Qom. So they have put some pictures and some video clips together. So I thought might be a good refreshing of memories for us. And when we were in St. Ottilien, we watched a little short clip of what Dean has produced. I hope if you have the version, the whole version of it, maybe we can see it tomorrow or other.
I actually have copies for, I brought 10 DVDs.
Oh, very good. So maybe then we can also show part of it to everyone, and then we can watch completely, inshallah, afterwards. And then we would start after the introduction and the clip. We start with the first presentation, which would be by Father William and Dr. Jawadi. But I would like to request everyone to introduce himself or herself. Although we know almost everyone, I think knows other people, but still it's good because some people may be new, so we don't want to miss the opportunity to be completely known to each other. So if I could request from Dr. Legenhausen, if you could introduce yourself and then we carry on.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I'm very happy to welcome all our friends again here to home and to see so many familiar faces. It's nice to have you all here with us. My name is Mohammed Legenhausen. I'm teaching, working full-time at the Imam Khomeini Education and Research Institute, and also teaching a PhD seminar in ethics, meta-ethics actually at the University of Qom. Since the last time I've seen you, I've been more active in Catholic Muslim dialogue, but mostly with friends in Germany, in Paderborn for the most part. And there should be some publications coming out as a result of that interchange within the next few minutes.
And maybe you can mention about the meeting in Paderborn end of the month.
Yes, and at the end of the, actually in the 2nd of June, we're also having a conference in Paderborn with Dr. Shamali, Dr. Javadi will also participate, and we're going to discuss ethics with friends there who are engaged in this, in what they call ZEC, which is the Zentrum für Komparative Theologie. And this is the main people who are working in Paderborn on this issue are Jochen Schmidt and Klaus von Stosch.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm an ecumenical bridge element in the group because I'm from the Lutheran Church. I did my PhD in this sort of theology, but always being active in ecumenical dialogue and interreligious dialogue. And nowadays, well, I'm working since ever with St. Ottilien, so I came to know our Benedictine friends. And I'm mostly not working for the university now, but also for the public media and in church media. And I will try to bring around what we are doing, the dialogues we are having to make it more known to the public also in Germany, to give a good example what we do.
Thank you.
I'm Lorraine Victorson. I'm a sister of the Good Samaritan of the Order of St. Benedict, commonly known in Australia as the Good Sams. Try writing Sisters of the Good Samaritan of the Order of St. Benedict an identification for it. It's not going to fit. I've been a member of the congregation for several years, as you agreed. I have been actively engaged for several years in the Archdiocese of Brisbane for the Commission for Ecumenism and Interreligious Dialogue. And I belong to the Forum for Christians, Jews and Muslims that operates out of Griffith University in Brisbane, and it's sponsored by the United Queensland Churches Together. I'm very pleased to be here to take part in this for the first time. I'm very grateful that my superior just rang and said, I think this would suit you. And I said, I think it might suit me.
Thank you.
I'm Brother Daniel Pont, PMT, who means in French means bridge. Pont is bridge. So I'm trying to be a bridge for tradition in Europe. I've been coordinator for the MIG-DIM in Europe for 10 years. And we had over Europe a lot of contacts and strong links with many traditions, mainly Buddhist, Hinduist, and Sunnite, maybe, but not, as far as I know, from with Shi'a Muslims. Well, I've been traveling in Iran 45 years ago, across the country. And so now I see some change, of course. Most of you were born 45 years ago. So I'm very glad to join you for the first time. So I'm very glad to be with you all this week. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello everyone, welcome to Iran. I'm happy that I'm with you today. I'm Sabere. I'm the MA student in Shi'a Studies, and I'm working in Risalat Institute. That's under guidance of Dr. Shomali. And my friends and I have had some experiences to participate in some interfaith dialogue, and it's very good. I mean, experience for us to be today here with you. Thank you. My name is Zahra. I'm also working at the Risalat International Institute, and I got my MA in Shia Studies, then I started another MA in Islam for students. It's very good for us to have you here. Thank you.
My name is Nalke Wolf. I'm the Abbot Primate, the representative of the Benedictine Order, and I'm involved in interreligious dialogue since '79, but now with our Muslim friends, especially a couple of years ago we started, when I said also to our Benedictine group of the interreligious monastic dialogue, we have to take care of the reality of Muslims, although they don't have monasteries like the Buddhists, for example, have. But there is much spirituality, and we can learn, and we should find a common way towards the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
I shall still be in office until September, then it's over, and I will make St. Ottilian afterwards.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Fatima. I'm working in the same as my friend. And I'm graduated student in Shia Studies, and now I'm studying Islamic philosophy at the university. I'm very happy to welcome you on here. Thank you.
I'm Mahmoud Hegarpro. I was teaching for past 28 years in the University of Jamaat al-Zahra, Seminary for Women. And recently I moved to London. Now I'm teaching in the seminary in London. I did my BA and PhD in the same university in Bonn, and I did my master in Manchester. I had the topic of religious ethics, but between Islam and Christianity, and it was the time that I already had involved in the dialogue between Muslim and Christian. So I mostly worked on the concept of love, and I think it was since 1997 we were involved in the dialogue. But for us, I was just going to mention this point that dialogue means talking to each other. But for me and Dr. Shomali and his wife, I think most of you know, dialogue doesn't mean just talking to each other. And dialogue is for us a platform for loving each other. So I was looking, maybe we can find another word for dialogue, for our own dialogues, because for us it's a platform that we make, friendships and
Dialogue.
Pardon?
Dialogue.
I said this, one time before, that after any meetings that we have, the success of that meeting is that how many more friendships we have made, or how much we could be able to strengthen our old friendships.
Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Muhammad Ali Ansari. I'm one of the scientific member of University of Religions and Denominations in Bonn. It's for 10 years that I'm teaching in that university, and also I have been dealing with dialogue between different religious groups who are coming to our university from different countries. And with this group, I have experience to have been with this group about 4 years ago, and also 2 years ago. 4 years ago in Italy, and 2 years ago in Bonn. I'm very pleased that I visit this group again. I'm very happy, and I welcome to every one of you. Thank you very much.
Dr. Ansari was present in the 4th round of dialogue in San Anselmo and the 5th year.
First of all, I would like to welcome all of the guests. I'm Said Mohammed Reza Muhaddis. I am the Deputy of Research at this institute. And the last time that some of our friends and I had some sort of Shia Catholic dialogue was in the previous year, 2015, when we had a journey to Bosnia and Herzegovina. We had a quite good experience over there. We had some meetings with Catholics from Croatia and Bosnia, and also with the Serbs, who were actually Orthodox and not Catholic. It was quite a good experience from this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bonjour, I'm Brother Godfrey, or Godefroy in French, which means Salamullah. It's a whole program, but I'm at the beginning. I thank God to be here for the second time, and I'm really pleased to see you all again. I belong to a community in France that was made the first foundation in the Muslim environment in Algeria. And it became famous because 20 years ago, 7 brothers of this community died as martyrs. It was a civilian war. I spent some time in Morocco, which is a follower of this community. And I've been now in Syria as a chaplain for a small community, new community of sisters. They arrived in Syria some 10 years ago, and I'm there since I've been there 1 year. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is William Skudlar. I am the official title is Secretary General of Monastic Interreligious Dialogue. I think that's a fancy word for saying that I try and organize things and keep track of things. My involvement with interreligious dialogue began in 1993 when my abbot asked me to go to Japan We had a monastery in Japan, and I decided if I'm going to go to Japan, I need to know something about the Japanese way of being religious. And apart from that, I began my involvement with monastic and religious dialogue. I couldn't agree more with Makanaz when she says it would be good to find another word. Because I think the minute you say interreligious dialogue, people's first impression is, well, this is a very high academic exercise. Scholars come together and argue about interpretation of texts and that sort of thing. And I would like to think, well, agreeing to the importance of that word, that this monastic Muslim dialogue takes another approach, and its approach primarily focused on spirituality, on our life of faith, our life of devotion. I also recall that the Second Vatican Council's document, which is frequently referred to as the document on interreligious dialogue, Nostra Aetate, in fact is titled The Dialogue of the Church's Relation to Other Religions, people of other religions. So it's about relationship. That's what's really at the heart of dialogue. It's not about exchanging ideas, it's about forming and fostering and nourishing relationship.
Thank you very much.
My name is Maximilian Musindai from Kenya. I'm a student at the Pontifical Institute for Arabic and Islamic Studies in Rome. Currently I'm based in Egypt, living among the Sunni and actively involved in dialogue with the Shias, just to pull the two experiences together. Personally, when it comes to dialogue with the Shias, I feel fulfilled, and I think it's the sign of the time, something that we need to come together as brothers and sisters. It's the time I sacrifice all that I'm doing to be with my brothers and sisters to share these experiences. I concur with the two, Dr. Mahnaz and William. It's more than dialogue what you're doing. It's not about academic stuff and such. Being together, creating space for the other, and also giving something to the other. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Ahmed Fayazi. I had the honor to participate in the last dialogue. I'm very pleased to be a part of this dialogue, this round of dialogue again, to meet our friends. My education background, I've been a student at the Islamic Seminary of Pope for more than 10 years, and I did an MA in Abrahamic religion and also another MA in Christian-Muslim dialogue. So, and right now I'm doing a PhD in Shi'a theology in the University of Tehran. So I look forward to learning from all of you this round of dialogue and to new horizons.
Well, good morning to you all, and thank you again for the wonderful welcome. Always very warm and heartwarming when I come here. For those of you who perhaps have not seen this face before or encountered the story, I would like to just briefly give you the unexpurgated version. The unexpurgated version started when I was abbot, when one of our parish fathers rang me up and said, "Father Abbot, I've got a young," just fix it, "a young Iranian imam here who wants to visit Ampleforth." Can you all hear? Yes? No, they have to.
Yes.
Can he come and visit? I said, of course, of course. That was the first meeting with Muhammad Ali Shamali and I. And from that moment, something happened. Don't ask me what, but something happened. And I've always seen it from my perspective as an inspiration from God. Out of that, there developed a relationship with, I asked him to come and speak to the monks. Now, this is rural North Yorkshire. Anything outside Yorkshire is foreigner. Anything outside Britain cannot be trusted. So you can imagine that little bit of background. So when I said to the monks, I said, I've asked an Iranian, very high quality Iranian Shia to give a talk to you on Islam. They went, what? And I said, yes, you're going to listen. So he came. I said to Muhammad, if you will remember, I said 25.5 minutes, not a second more. And he did 25.5 minutes. The most conservative monk in that group, the most conservative, the most anti-anything other than Roman Catholicism, came to me afterwards and said, that was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. He did everything he could, God inspired, and he got the message across. From that, I came and visited. We had a memorial carpet. We had started this series. But the important point, I think, from this is that when I retired from being abbot, I was asked by the holy man at the end there, the abbot primate, to become a representative in dialogue with Islam. But I, as an abbot, know full well that the following sentence is bound to come. There's no money in it, i.e. you have to beg. Luckily, I was given a job in Rome in a seminary, which paid me a stipend, which enabled me during the vacations to carry out what he wanted, which was to visit the Benedictine world, and during the term time to do a PhD on the relationship between the rule of Benedict and the Holy Quran. The title of that thesis is what I would like to report in public, because very rarely has it been articulated, because I'm always frightful that occasionally there's a Benedictine who has a gun in his pockets and will pull it. Is, might an expanded concept of spiritual memory be the foundation of a new style of Benedictine community dedicated to a dialogue of spirituality with Islam? It never got published, but it's still on my thing. When Liturgical Press said they could publish it, I had to change the thesis quite a lot. But it was published as No Peace Without Prayer, encouraging Muslims and Christians to pray together, a Benedictine perspective. And I brought a few copies for you here. That has led, therefore, to me working in the United States, in a university called Benedictine University near Chicago. 25% of the students are Muslim. And I was invited eventually to teach a course called The Spirituality of the Abrahamic Faiths. Now in this university, everyone has to do a religious studies course or a theology course, whether they're doing politics or economics or medical science or whatever. And the maximum size for a class was about 24, 25. I presented that course 5 times. And it was done by continual assessment. Every class was 50% Muslim. And what was great about it was I would produce for every class a text from the inspired scriptures. And then in the second class from the spiritual writers, people like Manas and Shamali. They used to come up quite frequently on my texts. And the aim of the class, which consisted of Christians, of atheists, occasionally of Hindus, was for them to be able to appreciate
similarity and difference, and avoid this word same, because the word same in English is a very misleading term, because it can include identity or it can include similar, and therefore leads it to fudge. And I, at the end of the courses, the first one particularly, I was very nervous because you could never quite know how it's going down, because I would give the paper, talk it through anything, they would then do a reflection, I would correct it. And at the end, the predominant view of that 25, the first 25 was, thank you, I never realized it. The Muslims never realized about Christianity, and the Christians didn't know, or the non-Muslims didn't know anything about Islam. That led to a second course on Jesus and Mary in the Holy Quran and in the New Testament, which I only did twice, but had similar results. For all sorts of reasons, I'm having to move from that university, and I'm going to another. But there's been big encouragement for it to go online, and I'm at the moment putting it online at two levels. One is at university level, which is what I've been teaching, and the other is at what I call adult education level. But you can see how I started off from this meeting with this guy, and we're now in a position where I'm about to go online. I mean, it's amazing. And I see it as nothing of this was part of a career plan. It all happened by the will of God. So I say thank you to Muhammad Ali Shamali, because if he had not turned up, I would never be here now. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Mohsen Javadi. I'm teaching in philosophy department at Bonn University. Thanks to God I was present from the first round of this dialogue. Even though I'm happy to welcome all of you to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to also introduce the friends who are sitting there. We don't have enough, unfortunately, chairs here. Mr. Dayabari is my deputy, so because now I am mostly in London, so he takes the trouble of coordinating everything in the institute with other deputies. Mr. Mualla is Deputy of Cultural Affairs in the institute, and he is also very good an advanced student in the seminary, and he has also been traveling a lot different places like Mr. Daryabari. Reza Farajian, I call him Reza because over email you have been in touch with him, and he's in charge of our English department and also coordinator of our courses, international courses, which take place here. We have Mr. Reza Zadeh, who used to be our Deputy of Cultural Affairs. Then he went to Hartford Seminary. He was there twice, and the last time, I think 2 years? The last time was 2 years. Murtaza also brought two groups of people from Hartford Seminary here. The first group was president and some faculty and the boards of trustee and some Shia. It was very good trip. Then in March, he brought a group of students from Hartford Seminary, and a very beautiful short clip of few minutes has been produced called Iranic Journey. Maybe we show you sometimes. Very beautiful, just few minutes. We will show you. So we are happy that we have Murtaza here. We had Murtaza for the fourth round of dialogue in San Anselmo. Murtaza was there. And we have Mr. Amin Din, one of our graduates from our third level program. For his dissertations, he did a comparison of Psalms and Sahif Sajjadiyah about understanding of God, the way God is presented in Psalms and in Islamic traditions. Mohammed Huzur Bakhsh is one of our very good students, but he's also doing now PhD. He has also been traveling a lot in Africa and also Canada. He participated in a course with Mennonite friends in CMU, Canadian Mennonite University. Many of our friends have been also to Mennonite universities. Mr. Rastifar is now helping us with the running of Risalat Institute. That some of our sisters are from that institute, which is responsible for compiling textbooks and offering courses outside Iran. He was in Tanzania for 2 years, serving the Shia community there in educational campus outside Dar es Salaam. And Mr. Hashemi is one of our students, and he is also very good reciter of the Quran. And recently he had, where was your last visit? Uganda. He was in Uganda recently, and for your dissertation you are working on
human dignity.
Human dignity.
The concept of human dignity in bioethics.
Yes. So we are happy to have him here. I think we have introduced everyone, and we have Mr. Rasti Tabar, who is in charge of arranging all the visas, booking hotels, and all these things, and we are very grateful to him. And we have Mr. Muhibbikia, who is in charge of our audio, visual, and IT department, and Mr. Sani, who is in our cultural department.